Best of r/malicious compliance episode 137. Subscribe for edit videos daily. I told her to stop talking. She did. My fiancée and I have begun exercising together. She has a workout plan she's doing and I agreed to do it as well. The problem is that I am pretty out of shape, so I was struggling when I started. The workout plan doesn't have sound, just a 30-second timer and some text telling you when to rest and what to do next. If you're just concentrating on working out, you can sometimes miss your cue to take a break. Easy solution. Each of us will watch the time for the other person. This all leads up to me, on the second day of exercises, absolutely dying while doing split jumps. My fiancée is sitting on the sidelines with helpful comments like go down lower, and you need to jump higher. I'm tired and a little grumpy, so I half-jokingly told her to stop talking. She immediately goes silent and I'm briefly worried I may have upset her. I'll check with her as soon as my break comes along. I continue to do my split jumps, and I keep going, and going, and going. 30 seconds seem like an eternity when you're trying to exercise. I can't look at the screen because my fiancé has it. I continue to do those evil split jumps. I stop. She busts up laughing and shows me the time. I'm 20 seconds into my break. That's what I get for telling her not to talk. Now I use my phone timer that beeps every 30 seconds and we do the sets together. Thank you. Next. Trash across the front porch. This happened a while ago, when I was studying English in the United States. One day, my ex and I were cleaning the kitchen after a social gathering. I was doing the dishes when I asked my ex, "Can you throw the trash?" My ex picked up the trash bag, opened the front door, threw the trash bag in the air, which proceeded to rip open, spreading its contents all over the front porch. "What the hell is wrong with you?" I angrily yelled, to which my ex replied, "You told me to throw the trash, so I threw it." This is how I learned, and never forgot, the difference between throw and throw away. Thank you. Next. Eat it or sit on it. When I was a kid, I'd go stay at my grandma's sometimes. I wouldn't always want to finish my food, so she'd tell me to eat it or sit on it. One day, I decided to do exactly that, sit on my bowl of rice and black beans. She wasn't happy, but she respected it and never told me eat it or sit on it again. Thank you. Next. Changing channels is a turn? Okay. Backstory. So my brother and I are always fighting and this quarantine is making everything tenser. So the agreement we had before was that if you watch one movie I'll watch one movie. Same thing for shows. Story. So one day, I was just browsing the channels looking for something to watch. Then, my brother, annoyed that I still haven't chosen anything, decided to whine to my mother. He kept on saying that whenever I chose a channel, it was a turn. My mom, annoyed at his whining, said fine. New rule. Okay then. So the next day, I pretended to be asleep but I had a pen and a small notepad with my watch with me. I then waited for him to turn on the TV. I then took a list of all the 11 channels he browsed through. I then waited until yesterday to put my plan into action. With my compiled list of the 11 channels all with the date and time, I made microwave popcorn and got comfortable. After my first movie, my brother demanded that I give him the remote but I didn't. He then went to our mom and whined. I then showed her list and reminded her of the new rule. My brother then tried to contest the rule but I reminded him that he was the one to make the rule in the first place. My mother relented and said that it was my turn for the next 11 movies/shows. I watched all the Avengers movies and a few episodes of the Grand Tour. He was so pissed when I decided to watch Infinity War and Endgame. That's it. My short but sweet malicious compliance. Edit. Clarity about time. Thank you. Next. Dinner time compliance. Back when I was a kid, we had a rule where you weren't allowed to start eating food before we had said the blessing. The penalty for doing so was having to wait 1 minute to start eating after the blessing for each bite you had taken before the blessing. I hated this rule because I didn't like waiting to eat. What I figured out is if I ate my whole dinner before the blessing, I wouldn't have any food to have to wait to eat after the blessing. I got about halfway through my plate before my mom figured out my plan, and the jig was up, but it was totally worth it. Thank you. Next. Enjoy your hand sanitizer. This story contains entitlement and I may post it on entitled parents/kids too. Just a BTW. So I have this friend, sorta, Let's call her Karen even though she is the same age as me, a teenager. When we were younger I caught her a few times having stolen stuff from me and her friends, and was generally a stealing lying bitch. But we sometimes got along and our relationship is complicated and she thinks we are fantastic friends, so I don't tell her otherwise. She also set me up with my current GF, but that's a different story. I also have really good peripheral vision, and people often got mad when I could see them do stuff out of the corner of my eye that they thought I couldn't. So I went shopping with my friends late last year and my friend, not Karen, drags me into a certain shop for body products. As it was one of the last shops we could go to and I still had a decent amount of money left, I bought a lip balm and 2 small scented, expensive as hell, bottle of hand sanitizer. I never use them so the size of them didn't bother me. It was just for random occasions when I needed them, or wanted my hands to smell nice. I got home, put them on my desk and used them about 3 times the rest of the year. Then in about March Karen came over and asked, hey, can I have one of these bottles of hand sanitizer, and I tell her no. I bought them myself and they are very expensive. She looks at me, fake smiling, and says, oh, okay then, and I swear I can see her grab one off the desk very obviously as soon as I turn back to my PC. Without looking at her I say, put that bottle the fuck back. I said no. Karen is surprised and quickly puts it back, looking at me innocently saying, what do you mean? At this point I'll look up and say, you know I have good vision. Don't try and take my stuff when I have told you no. I then reached over and put the bottles in my desk drawer and go back to what I was doing. The next day she comes over again and her mum is with her. The mother starts getting mad at me, saying Karen told her I stole her hand sanitizer and that I locked it in my desk. I told her I don't have a lock on my desk, and that I bought that hand sanitizer last year. She was still mad and shouting at me to give her the hand sanitizer. No one else was home as my family were all shopping or at school. I go to online school and Karen is homeschooled, so no one could back me up or save me from her. I finally get fed up, go inside and grab one of the bottles of hand sanitizer and an old lotion tube I never threw away cause I'm messy. I screw off the cap of the lotion lid, and squeeze the sanitizer into the bottle, sealing it back up and putting it in my desk. I put the bottle in my pocket and walk back to the door. This'll just take a moment. I forgot I put it in the kitchen. She nods, still mad, and Karen is smiling in success as I walk off again. I reach the kitchen and grab a bottle of ketchup, mixing it with chunky aloe vera gel and awkwardly shoving it into the hand sanitizer bottle. This makes a sorta translucent pink gel that looks like a strawberry hand sanitizer, as that was the scent for this one. The smell of the original hand sanitizer is very strong and it overpowers the ketchup, making it seem convincing. I come back and hand her the tiny bottle of ketchup and aloe vera, looking directly at Karen and saying, I'm so sorry I stole. I don't know what came over me. They both looked smug and turned to leave, her parents saying she won't be returning again. I don't want you stealing more of her stuff and you're lucky we don't press charges on you because you're a kid. I put on a sad face and say, that's a shame, before slamming the door in her stuck-up face. I hope she enjoys her hand sanitizer. Thank you. Next. We gotta have clean magazines, too, if you insist. Another dirty magazine malicious compliance story posted today reminded me of this story. I visited NYC a few years ago. Long story short, I end up getting a behind-the-scenes tour of a cool business near Times Square. Business is aimed at tourists, and is located in a building with additional storefronts and residences above. The guy giving me the tour runs the business I was visiting, but the biz and the entire building is owned by his boss, who also owns the other storefronts in the building, and those are managed by other people. So one owner, one building, several businesses. But the unrelated businesses share an employee lounge area, bathrooms, etc. And through this back area you can move between the different stores, so the employees all know each other. And part of our tour is that area, and then the other storefronts, one of which is an old school adult bookstore. Lots of sex toys, adult magazines, etc. Except some years back, in an effort to clean up Times Square and make it more tourist friendly, a law was passed that all magazine stores had to have at least 20% of their magazines be non-pornographic. So, Time magazine, Vogue, People, that sort of stuff. No problem. The stores complied, and we were surrounded by the latest issues of hundreds of porno mags, while 20% of the stock was traditional magazines that hadn't been touched in years. They were literally the same magazines that had been purchased when the law was enacted, to meet the bare minimum percentage. The law never said they had to be current issues, and no one ever bought them at this store, so they sat there fulfilling their legal requirement, and nothing else. Well played, adult bookstore. Well played. Sorry, I don't remember the exact percentage, may have been a different number. The exact number isn't important.